Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. Welcome to this Global Investigative Journalism Network webinar, which is about online investigative techniques and specifically today focused on investigating social media. We're absolutely delighted to be joined for a second time by journalist and expert trainer Henk van Ess, who many of you know and who I'll introduce properly in a moment. My name is Anne Koch, and I'm the Program Director at the Global Investigative Journalism Network, and I'm your moderator today. So welcome again. We even have people apparently joining us from cars, so that's pretty exciting. So welcome again to this webinar on social media for investigation with Henk van Ess. And Henk brings extraordinary expertise in digging out stories from open sources and in training others in these skills. And he's trained journalists and investigators in many organizations, including ITV, Axel Springer, Buzzfeed, Wall Street Journal, ProPublica. The list is a very, very long one. He's also one of our most popular speakers at the GIJN conferences. And indeed, some of you may have attended his GIJN webinar a week ago, which now can be found on our YouTube channel. So if you want to catch up with that. We will also be recording today's session. Over to Henk in a moment, but for those of you who don't know GIJN, we are the largest global network of nonprofit investigative journalism organizations, but we work with journalists everywhere in commercial, nonprofit, and freelancers. And we have an extensive range of resources and tip sheets to help journalists worldwide, so please check them out. And I see Henk is getting ready for his super duper presentation. He's going to speak for about 80 or 90 minutes, a bit longer than our normal webinar, like last week really. And you can ask questions anytime in our Q&A box. We'll get to as many as we can. In fact, some of them may be answered during the webinar, and then we'll scoop up some questions at the end when we invite our GIJN colleague Eunice Aw to join us on the screen to share those questions. Do ask questions anytime, and Henk will also be sharing links in the chat box. So without further ado, Henk, over to you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, good afternoon from rainy the Netherlands. I'm Henk van Ess, and I'm delighted to spill some beans with you during this extended session where we will also be able to actually work together. So there will be, I think, 5 exercises today where you can actually do some shadow researching. So today is all about, it's basically all about how to data mine social media. And if you think social media is a lot of cats and dogs and food, you're probably completely right. So we really, as an investigative journalism breed, we need to kill the cats, but not curiosity. This is a terrible, complicated pun, but okay, I gave it my best try. So we're going to start right away. So I'm going to start with a murder case, which partly was possible to use Facebook and LinkedIn to get a grasp on the whole subject. So before COVID, I had a new hobby. You see here what my new hobby is. Instead of sitting in workshop rooms, I was part of the newsroom for whatever organization who wanted me to do that. And that is way more interesting to do actually a workshop at 4 o'clock after a long day working together with everyone, and then saying completely arrogant, giving a workshop called 10 things you missed in tomorrow's newspaper, which is rather an arrogant title, I agree. Anyway, I did that for Het Laatste Nieuws, which roughly translates as you think it does, the latest news. And this is a newspaper based in Belgium. Here you see the head editor, and he's looking at his happy, shiny crew. And at that moment, little did they know, there was not that much news, there was not much going on. But then after a few hours, something came in. So 15 minutes past 12 and almost 50 seconds, this Belgium newspaper received some breaking news from a place, from a town they never heard of before. And I probably mispronounced it terribly. So I'm so glad that we have a French translator who can translate this into real French. So apple, apple, something like that, in the district, in the canton Vaud in Switzerland. So, okay, this is a very international session, so you should be able to cope with a lot of places going on at the same time. So we are at the Dutch guy is actual me at a Belgium newspaper, and the Belgium newspaper is looking at something which happened in Apple Info in Switzerland. So there are more cows than inhabitants in this town. So it is a very small town. And the story they were investigating was that a Belgian family was found dead in that town in Switzerland. And they were at the beginning of the news cycle. So there was no press release yet. There was nothing in the Belgium on Belgium TV. There was nothing on Belgium radio besides some happy music. So Belgian family found that is interesting for a Belgian newspaper. So how to work from here? Of course, you have a lot of questions about when, where, why. And the town in itself is tiny. So if there would have been a murder, there's a big chance that somebody knows about it a little bit more than you do. Maybe a villager knows more, though they only have, at 2008, they only had 1,221 inhabitants. And you probably have questions like this. So let's have a look at those questions. Of course, you need to know who is dead. Maybe you won't put in the full name of the person who died or the family who has died, but just for verification reasons, you need the name of the family to find out more background and to write a little bit more about who those people were. And why. You need to know why, of course, somebody was killed. Maybe you can already give an answer, but most of the times the police will not answer for you. Where exactly? Well, it was in Vaud. And how, we don't know yet. So do other media have more information? Probably that's a wise thing to do. So just check, is there anything on the news wires in Switzerland? And they speak a lot of languages there. So I went there on a tour last year, and they speak French and Roman and some kind of German. But this was a French district. So let's have a look. If you, like me, and don't speak French that well, you start in a very stupid way, Googling a killing in in that place, as you just see here. So I just wanted to see, and I went to tools, and I said, show me only the last 24 hours. Is there anything with killing or dead and this town? And the moment you do that, this was not by far not my most sophisticated query I ever made. By the moment you do that, the popularity mechanism of Google kicks in. Otherwise, I can't explain what one of the things was I got. So Google was asking me, probably you want to ask this question: what did Steve Jobs really die of? So I thought at that moment in time that was not funny. I just wanted to find some other articles and not something about Steve Jobs. Anyway, the problem is that Google sometimes chooses the most popular answer. And although I wish you all a great audience, but especially a big audience for your investigative journalism work, if you are doing the lonely work of fact checking, you probably are not interested in the most popular answer. So I was not amused. Now, of course, you can easily fix that by typing in some more words. As you can see here, I typed in Apple, Vaud, and more. Again, not the most brilliant way of asking Google something. Now look carefully at the screen. I typed in those words. It was in 2019, and the very first hit, if you look carefully, one of the three things I typed in was struck by Google. Do you see it? So type in the chat if you can. Do you see it? Yes, no. Do you see which word is deleted by Google. Just type it in the chat if you see that. And most of you are seeing that. It's the word apple. Now, again, I'm not amused because I want to find apples and Google says, no, no, you don't want to find apples. No, no, trust me on this one. You don't want to find apples. And only if I look at the fine print of Google, I would probably even only notice then that I have to click on the word apples itself to make this happen. So around 2.5, 3 years ago, it was a terrible day for me as an investigative reporter / trainer, and the beautiful words Anne said during the introduction. Because Google decided to remove all kinds of Chinese walls. That's a metaphor. They removed all kinds of walls between all their services. So if you, as a reporter, would research money laundering during day in Google, and at night you would look at, cats and dogs and babies in YouTube because you're completely tired and you want to unwind a little, Google will notice and will basically reflect your own search into a mirror, and you're always looking in a mirror. So it could also be that Google knows that I don't eat apples, and because of that, the apples are gone. There is a simple way to resolve this. Most of you all, I think, are aware of something called quotation marks. Quotation marks is a great trick if you are sure about yourself and sure about what you're searching, a name of a phrase or a phrase, you just use quotation marks. I think in 2020, it is so important to use quotation marks in this way. So I just typed apples and Google removed it in the very first hit. If you do this right now, you will see that I think the number 8 hit will remove the word more. But Google will remove something. I'm thinking this is a little bit cheating. If you consider this to do like a memory game, it's like, okay, I have a card on the table and let's play a memory game. You know, this game with photos and you have to match the same photo. And Google says, no, well, let's get rid of your photo. I have a way better photo. I don't like that. So to solve that, just watch at the screen, fixate each word. I hate to be the bringer of maybe bad news. I do this almost every day, over and over again. So the moment I'm sure of what I'm trying to find, I have to fix it like this. Anyway, we are not researching filter techniques of social media yet. We're still busy with filtering in Google, but I needed this to come to the next stage of this little research. So we found something. I translated this from French. So it says here that the Belgian family was found dead in a Swiss canton of Vaud. A Belgian couple and their 13-year-old son were found dead on Monday in their home in the municipal. Oh my God, my wife is so right. She says, my half-British wife says, take some speech lessons, take some pronunciations lessons, but I always stubbornly say, no, I'm too busy for that. But anyway, you can read it, what it says here. So I have a question for you. Let's work on for 1 minute on this question. So 1 minute. We're looking for eyewitnesses. Everything is allowed. Give it your best shot. Can you find Belgian people in Apple Vaud? So that's the next exercise. Can you find Belgian people in Apple Vaud? Let's work with that on 1 minute. So 1 minute question. Well, Dimitri, I like your thinking. So for the people who are watching this as a video, we have a chat here and people come up with all kinds of ideas. So one of the ideas is look at the phone book and look at a typical Dutch / Belgian name. Yeah, we have to do it online right now. So maybe there is an expat group. So most of you are discussing all kinds of strategies. I really want you to work on those strategies. So can you find this in 1 minute, a list of people? And the most laziest idea, I'm so sorry to insult the contribution of Mr. Mekai. Well, I don't, yeah, I insult your contribution, not yourself, not you. Contact a local reporter and ask him or her. Well, I started as a local reporter, and remember the many times that a hotshot reporter called me and said, hey, can you give me the cell phone of that and that person? And then I said, well, I did all the hard work. And then somebody said to me, you arrogant person, why don't you help me? Anyway, let's not call some colleagues, let's not find the telephone book, but let's solve this via Facebook and maybe a little bit of LinkedIn. So the next segment is about finding the who and the where in Facebook. The next segment is about finding the who and the where in Facebook. We know that there are some people living in that town besides the cows. So I want you, well, I don't want you, but I suggest if you want to do some shadow research to open up Facebook and just search for the word apples. You see two interfaces in one slide. So you see the old interface, as you can see here, and you see the new interface. Oh, it's just the other way around. Sorry for that. And if you have the new interface, click on people. If you have the old interface, click on people. So it doesn't matter that much. Now it's important that if you clicked on people, that you click on city. And what I like, that the new Facebook interface, the older one had the same option, allows you to type in the city you want to find, and then you can be sure that you have the right city, because it will give you a pre-formatted database entry. It says, it tells you, it reassures you, well, this must be your Apple phone. Okay, click on it. And when you did that, you will get a random list of people. And some of you will probably say, well, I get a different list. That's not a bug, that's a feature. So it's social media with, mind you, the word me is important. So if I have a friend who has a friend who has a friend who lives in this town, I will see this friend on number 1 in my list. If you have a friend and 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 a friend, you will see a very generic list, because you don't have any connections in 5 steps or 6 steps to this place. So sometimes be careful if you do this on a more local base. It could be that you are trying to interview your own friends or friends of friends, but the moment you do it far away from your home, then often you won't know those people, because they are too far away from your from you. So if all goes well, you get also some people with the word Apple in their name. And the first one on my screen is the beautiful apples you can eat in Apple. And there's a funny guy who says, I'm Steve Apple, I'm living in Apple. That could be a fake thingy. So here we have a list of people from that town, and we search for that. So the problem is that some of the hits are clearly, the word Apple was hidden in the name. And that's, we can use that. Now, what is common in a Belgian name? What is common Belgian name? What is common in a Belgian name? Some of you already said it in the chat, so I applaud you for that. I think there was a person all the way from Russia immediately said, well, I know what is very common in a Belgian name. If you don't, just type in last names and then the country. So I knew it myself, but if you are from Ethiopia and you don't have any clue what is the last name of a person in Belgium, what is a very common part of that name, just type in last names Belgium. And be careful what you wish for, because, or surname, that's the better phrase, you will get a category, oh my God, my English, in Wikipedia called surnames of Belgian origin. And here you see that, a sprout is a fish, but not every fish is a sprout. So if you look at it this philosophical way, not every Belgian has fan in it, but the other way around, there are a lot of people with fan in their name. Yeah, so we have a social media professor all the way, Mr. Opfrenhagen from Belgium, and he's vouching for that. Yeah, he said, I'm from Belgium, I would go for fan. And hey, look at my name. I have a fan in my name too, so let's go for fan. Now, look carefully at the link you have right now. So you're going to see a link here. Don't worry, this link will be put in the chat in a bit. It's a very long, complicated link. In the next session we have about social media, it will be explained what this link exactly does. So that's, yeah, it even means something, and we have to study that later in a different session. But now you see a very long link. So in case you have to catch up, this is your moment, because there's a link. The moderator in this room gave you a link, click on it. If yeah, it's completely visible, this link to you all. So let's find out. If you click on the link, do you get some people? Type in yes or no. If you click on the link, do you get some people? Yes or no. So you have to go to the chat box. Hey, video watching people who are video watching, there is no chat box, but during the live session, there is a chat box and there's a link. Click on it. So some people will copy it, and there you go. Now look careful at that link. The link says something. It says Q is Apple. This is really very precise what we're going to do now here. So Q is Apple. This part says in yellow, filters is, well, it is possible to decode this, and then you will see it says show me only people from Apple faux. So this is important that we don't touch this part, because it will always lead to people from Apple in faux. I like that. So we're not going to touch this one. We just came up with a pattern in a Belgian name. It's the word fan. So change the Q is Apple into the Q is fan. Be careful, don't get rid of the ampersand. So basically, I'm going to show you the whole screen without me nervously showing some spotlight on it. Well, not nervously, I'm not having a steady hand right now. So let's have a look at Q is Apple. Change that in Q is van, and then you get only people with van in their names, and that's already a great time saver. You could argue, oh, let's type in fan in the very first place. Well, there are some technical reasons why you shouldn't do that. You have to be sure that you get the right place first, and with this whole filter thingy you saw in the link, you can be sure of it. Okay. Now let's wait a little bit here. Let's let these people be very Belgium and let them be in info. We will come back to this later, because I like to share you some other tricks which you can do in Facebook. I have good news for you. The link you just tried to click on didn't exist, so we fixed that. So if you still want to click on the link, it's now there. So I'm apologizing for this small technical error. But from now on, be careful what you wish for. You will get a lot of links to click on in your chat box. It's working. Now, finding the what and the when in Facebook. The problem in the new interface in Facebook is, if you want to find a posting or a video, it often falls back to a specific year and not a specific month or a specific date. So if you want to find photos from a Serbian bombing years ago, it's hard if you only can go to 1 year. So let's fix that problem. So the problem is, we can, for postings, we can only search for a specific year in the normal interface of Facebook. Now here you see what would be the result if you would use the normal interface of Facebook. There is a striking going on from Indian farmers, and there's a lot of sympathy, the BBC said yesterday, all over the world with those Indian farmers. We have also some people striking here in the Netherlands, which leads to less products in supermarkets. We love our farmers for that. The striking Indian farmers, well, I can't believe that there are only two photos two photos published on Facebook. No, I can't believe that. Of course, that's not true. So I invite you to go to a small tool, which I was able to produce with some friends. So if you go to your chat box, you will see a link to a tool. It's called whopostedwhat.com, and it frankly it does what it says. So it's all about who posted what. And now go to the third section. Go to the third section and go to the specific month. So we're gonna go to the specific month and just type in that box striking Indian farmers and then December 2020. So go to who posted what and just type in the word striking Indian farmers December 2020 and click on search. So if you do that, you will get more, at least some postings about this same subject. You get a ridiculously long link, which I am happily sharing with the moderator. So I said, be careful what you wish for. It's a super long link. But if you look at the link, you should get some postings about Indian farmers who are still striking. So I'm just do a quick poll question. I just do a quick poll question. Is this working for you? So do you get the posting about Indian farmers who are striking? So the moderator is saying that we are inundated with yes, 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 yes. So I guess you have having a ball there, a happy time. Now, if you look at the word posts, as shown here, you can be sure about the following fact that you could also change this whole link into what would we say, maybe photos or videos. Yeah, whatever your need is. So go to this tool and then you will get only the posts. But look, if you change the word, look once more, posts into photos, you will get more photos than you just got a moment ago. Although we pinpointed our search to only 1 month. So it's clearly not working, the filtering in Facebook. But with this trick, it will work. So have a look at your chat box. The only difference between the very long link a moment ago and this very, very long link is that we substituted the word posts, which is slightly yellow on your screen. Maybe you are looking in black and white screen, but the word post is clearly yellow here. And here you see photos, which is also yellow. Well, here you go. What do you think, nudge, nudge, would be the command to open up Facebook for videos for December 2020 about striking Indian farmers? Congratulations, you guessed it right. Videos. So in case you just dozed off, here is the link once more for those people who are following it live. And for all others, have good fun. You should probably do this yourself live, so you don't have to type in this very long link. Okay, that's working nicely. I think it's a great way to find posting videos on a given date, on a given moment in time. And for those who are on breaking news, you could also mimic the situation that you only want to have the latest post, latest post about something, or the latest photos, by going into who posted what and just clicking on today's date. Okay, I'm gonna go back to our murder case. So you saw some people with van in it. I got this person in it, and I also got this person in it. So at that moment in time, this person was still listed as a person. Now I tried to contact that person, and that was so easy. This person gave his mobile phone number with a star, and he says, "Don't call me if you want to advertise." Well, well, okay. Anyway, at 12:15, the breaking news came in, and at 12:19, we already had a person who has actually Belgian name, and we had a cell phone number. So yeah, let's call him. And there's nothing funny. I'm not going to make any jokes here anymore because there was no funny in conversation. The guy we were talking to was a guy who was baking waffles, the best waffles in Faux and the neighboring area. And he was a little bit in shock. He said, it's so sad. He killed his child and wife and himself. Oh my God, this is really tragic. It was a family drama. I don't know if you ever interviewed witnesses, and they are sometimes so random. They no, that's so unkind. I mean, they say random things because of emotions or fatigue or a combination, and remember some things very clearly and some things they don't. So he said to me that the guy who knew a little bit, maybe yeah, no, I don't know his last name anymore. It's Michael. I don't know his last name. He lives in Apple. Yeah, sure. And he loves basketball, and that's it. So what you probably don't know, that this is enough, because we have to thank Microsoft for that. Microsoft took over LinkedIn and suddenly allows fuzzy search. Fuzzy search is that you can type in whatever you want and the computer is still trying to make any sense of it. It allowed that way better than the previous owner, LinkedIn itself. So what do I mean? How do you make a formula from an eyewitness interview? Well, this is what I did. I typed in the words Michael, basketball, and in a very specific way, quotation marks, Apple, faux. So it's always the name of the place and then the district or the region, and then the name cut out. So the information is deleted by the family. They deleted it this last week. I can understand. So this is maybe disappointing for you if you try to do shadow researching. So that's why I think, well, let's find some people who are working for Philip Morris in Apple Faux. So if you go to LinkedIn, you remember your password and know it before the session is over, then go to LinkedIn, type in Philip Morris and then quotation marks Apple, Faux, and you will be able to see some people who are clearly labeled as people from the Lausanne area. Do you see that? They're labeled as the Lausanne area. Anyway, in an amazing 10 minutes, including finding the people and finding the right name, we were already on the run for so finding context for the story. Let's dwell a little bit on LinkedIn. Why? Because somebody said in the description, Henk will tell you also stuff about LinkedIn. Welcome to Reimers Wall. I can't even pronounce that because not many Dutch people know Reimers Wall. I think one of my first girlfriend came from Krabbedijke, which was in the neighborhood from Reimers Wall. If this sounds totally Dutch to you, you're right. So what can you do in Reimers Wall? Here are some top things you can do in Reimers Wall. You can look at the swamp, you can look at the swamp, you can look at the swamp, and you can look at the swamp. The swamp has a mayor, and here's the mayor, so meet the mayor. Every mayor is proud, is a proud, well, I think every mayor should be proud, because what's the whole point of having a mayor who's not proud? So the mayor is listed in LinkedIn, and LinkedIn changed something in their structure of listing people you really should know of. So let's have a look. She is listed as the mayor. Here it says the mayor of the swamp. But here it says where she is living. And here it says in the Rotterdam area. Well, the mayor of the swamp is completely appalled. Why? Because look, here is Reimers Wall, and even according to Dutch, Dutch distances, this is a very long ride. It takes you 1.5 hours if there is traffic jam, and this is a very small town near the water, and this is a big town. So she's not amused. This is a new problem which started August 1. LinkedIn decided, well, let's make some arbitrary areas. So here you see a friend of mine, well, somebody who I deeply respect. He's a smart guy, and he lives in a town called Oosterhout. If you never heard of it, never mind. But he's listed now in LinkedIn as living in I can pronounce it, Brabantine City Row. Brabantine City Row. Did you ever hear of it? Well, if somebody says yes, I don't believe you, because no one in the Netherlands ever heard of it. Nobody uses it in the Netherlands. So here you see in Wikipedia, it even made an entrance in Wikipedia. This term is not attested in English outside Wikipedia until LinkedIn adopted it in August 2020. So what does this mean for you? Now you know that somebody who's from Oosterhout is listed as somebody in Brabanton City Row. Well, I like to explain you this following slide. So if you want to find somebody in Paradise, California, it is important to type in Paradise, California between quotation marks as last entry in LinkedIn. Or a place in a province like Oosterhout, North Brabant, or a place in a state like Paradise in California. Some of you will say, Henk, why are you doing this? Because if I go to LinkedIn, there's a button and it says search for a city. And there I can type in all those cities. I heard from inside Microsoft that they will kill that. So you won't be able in a few months to search for places like that. Well, let's find out if this is true, and this is your workaround. By the way, if you want to find full names in LinkedIn, I have a question for you. So can you find out, we have 1 minute for this little exercise. Can you find out the full name of this person? So can you find out the full name of this person? And for some strange reason, I'm still at a Philip Morris employee, this time all the way in India. Good luck. Okay, this one is not that hard, but some of your people you are trying to find in LinkedIn could be hard. So what we are addressing here is the problem if it says LinkedIn member. And in this case, we have plenty of information to work with. Next time you find a possible whistleblower, so you go to advanced search in LinkedIn and you see somebody who worked for the Secret Service in a certain country and is now doing some NGO stuff, maybe that is a good source for you. But it certainly says, or not certainly, it says LinkedIn member, and you suddenly think, well, I want to call this guy or woman, and you don't know the full name. Look at the screen, almost a fail-safe for finding those names, and you can almost be sure that you will find the full name if you do it like this. So let's have a look. Take the specific information, put it between quotation marks, take the city, and make an assessment. Where do you want to go? This guy is from India, so search for the Indian LinkedIn. If you do that, as shown here, you will be able to find the full profile. That's a little bit silly, don't you think? If you go to Google, you will find the full name. But that's, again, not a bug, but by default, Microsoft wants you to pay, wants you to stay in LinkedIn. But if you hop out of LinkedIn and hop in back via Google, you can do it for free. We just blew up the business model of LinkedIn. That's a joke, but here you see once more our way. So you find an unknown person, you take the parts that are very specific and look at where the person is based, and then hit enter in Google, and then you will find the full profile. By the way, we still have plenty of time, so I like that we have a longer time and extended time. That means that we can discuss even more. So I don't know if you ever had the need for this, but so now and then I have an email address of somebody, and I just want to see if this email address is used by somebody in LinkedIn. In other words, can I search an email address and then find his LinkedIn account or her LinkedIn account, or its LinkedIn account? I should be gender neutral. Now, yeah, there was an old method which was working fine. There was a formula for that. But Microsoft killed this a few months ago and said, well, LinkedIn is ours now. Okay, let's play it by the rules. Here you see an email address of a guy. I opened the chat here right now. We're with such an interesting audience from all over the world. So does anyone know who this is? So I'm going to ask the chat right now. Who is this? Does anyone know this by somebody says it's me? Oh, I am. Okay, in the chat, somebody Yusuf says I know who it is. Anyway, yeah. Okay, well, we get a lot of suggestions in the chat. Here this person, I had a photo and his email address. So here you see the email address of the person we are researching. And even if you are familiar with interesting tools for finding people like this one, you will see nothing. There's no hit. By the way, you are looking at one of the test questions. If you ever want to become a reporter of a US publication called Daily Beast, this is one of their test questions. My God, what did I do? Now you can become an editor of this of Daily Beast without knowing the answer yourself. Anyway, so this is one of the test questions. So how do you make a real person in LinkedIn out of this email address? Let's have a look. What is his LinkedIn profile? How to do this? Now, the first step is you have to open up an Outlook account. In most countries in the world, that's possible. Sometimes you have to use a VPN. And yeah, well, Microsoft will thank you for that. Thank you for that, because, well, magic always has its price. You leave some personal data and then they will give you free Outlook. Anyway, if you can live with that, we can continue. Step 2, go to the contacts. So there is a section in contacts, and the contact section is called Outlook Live people, and the moderator just typed it into the chat. If you go there, then you will be able to see all your contacts. Maybe you have none because you just signed up, and you can just open a new contact, and here's the funny thing, add the email address of our unknown protagonists. Oh, I pronounced that right, I think. Now, if you type in this silly looking email address, Microsoft has plans for world domination. They said, well, if you want to know more about LinkedIn, use our product first, use Outlook first. And here it says LinkedIn. So if you click on LinkedIn, as I show here, it will show you the actual person. So some of you guessed it right. It's Ali Hussein, but I probably mispronounced it completely. I'm so glad there is an Arabic translator who translate what I just said. Now, last time I made a small error in my last session because I was discussing how to filter Instagram in a session which was not about filtering Instagram. So if you followed the first session, this is your moment to find out if you got it, if you know what to do. If you didn't follow the last session, this is your moment to find out what to do. So the last 3 days, I was talking to bright students from Georgia near Russia on Saturday, Sunday, and Friday. And one of the questions was, can we find photos of protesters during a demonstration in Tbilisi? In Tbilisi, I was told to wait for the T and then say Tbilisi, on June 21, 2019. So this is a question for you now. Let's work on this for 2 minutes. Find eyewitnesses, videos, photos from people who were at the parliament protest on June 21. So the place was Tbilisi, and I probably mispronounced that too. So the moderator just typed in the name of the place. Oh, I just found out that I didn't I didn't need to give you that name of the city. It's almost self-evident. There is only one parliament in Georgia, and yeah, there only are in only one city. So, and I just noticed that 3 or 4 people just came in. When you just came in, welcome. You are at a conference about making plans for world peace. We're completely silent because we don't have a clue yet how to get world peace. So somebody understood the question in a different way and thought, well, let's find some photos in Facebook. So the question is, I'm going to show you once more, speed search in Instagram. So not in Facebook, although I applaud you that you found something in Facebook. So 1 minute left. Can you find specific eyewitness material in Instagram? So not in Facebook and not in Twitter. My God, I don't know how to rephrase this. No, my slide, it says search in Instagram. So I should change the slide here. So some people like to search in Facebook then, and some others like to search in Twitter. But I am so sorry, the exercise is to search in Instagram. So the minute is over. Maybe we can open the chat. Did somebody found it in Instagram? Type in yes or no. Type in yes or no. I even see my good friend Andrew Lerand from the NBC typing in yes. He's a pro, so he should know. So it's 50-50. So I'm not that disappointed because we told you last time, right? So first of all, you have to look up the address, and the address is shut. Well, I'm not going to pronounce this one. And you probably have to go to a geolocation here in Instagram. So find the geotag in Instagram, and there are several, so you should try them all. So when I do only one run, you will see this one today. The most recent photo from the Instagram account is this. And this is the most recent photo. Last time we talked about it, but I only want to be as precise as I can be. In this session should also be this certain trick. So if you go to who posted what, type in the link of the location and the date, you will see the actual photos of the demonstrations under most recent, although they are from 2019. So basically we tricked the computer a little bit. So if you want to see how you can do it, don't worry, just click on the link which the moderator just gave you. And for those people who are watching this on video, yeah, have a look at this screen. So we still have some time to discuss Twitter and talk about the deleted tweets in Twitter. So I need to discuss this a little bit with you. I'm sorry for my English here. So my question to all of you is, did you ever have the need to find a deleted tweet? Did you ever have the need to find a deleted tweet? I'm rhyming here. And we even get in the chat some yes with an exclamation marks, which means, well, tell me. Now, we were a big and strong group of international investigative reporters. So before I'm going to spill my beans, it's maybe wise to discuss this with each other. So can you type in, what would you do normally if you click on a tweet? You have a link of a tweet, you click on it and it's gone. What are your options? Can you type in, what would you do? So in the chat, people are posting archive.org, the cache of Google, and somebody says, well, I'm going to go to a certain source called Twipu, but yeah, that's not what I mean. This won't help you to find deleted tweets anymore. Now, if you want to find deleted tweets of politicians, if you want to find, well, let's ask first. So who of you wants to find, so now and then, deleted tweets of politicians? Type in yes or no. Who of you is interested in finding deleted tweets of politicians? So 10 years ago, with some coders, we came up with an idea for that, and it became a worldwide phenomena. So I'm I'm the creator of PolitWhoops. That's a lot of honor, but I was invited by a bunch of hackers who said, well, we can hack anything you want. We can code anything you want. Do you have any wishes? So I prepared a speech. I said, well, maybe you can monitor every politician and the moment they delete something, put that in a database and have a look at it. So that's what happens. There is a worldwide database now of how to find politicians who said something. It's called PolitWhoops. Whoops, you understand? So politician and then whoops, we made an error. So let's go there, PolitWhoops. So if you type that in, you will see a lot of countries here. So I'm gonna make the screen a little bit bigger. So there's one in South Africa, there's one in Tunisia, a lot of in Asia, and a lot of in Europe, because the whole idea came from Europe, from Amsterdam, North America, and we even have some in Venezuela, which is fun. So if you would go there, what can you expect? Of course, you get things like a normal day in the life of a politician. They misspelled something, they removed it quickly. But you also get things that they said, and then they suddenly think, oh my God, I shouldn't have said that, and then try to delete it. So I'm going to go to South Africa and going to go to the South African PolitWhoops and have a look at that one. That takes a little bit of time, so let's load it. So that's one way to find deleted tweets, PolitWhoops. Oh, by the way, I should give you the link. I noticed that some of you already typed in the link. Thank you so much for that. Now, you also told, let's go to Twitter. Let's go to, archive.org to find deleted tweets. And it's also an idea of you to go there. So here you see the problem I have with that, or the problem which is often occurring. Twitter and Wayback Machine don't go together that well. So here you see some Twitter account of a lobbyist, which we will talk a little bit later about. You can find this person in the Wayback Machine, and there's nothing left. There's nothing. It was never archived. So it is possible not to go to archive.org, but to go to Archive Today, and they always have different names. So let's have a look. So the link will be put into your chat. Go there, and this is basically you're depending on the work of others. So you're hoping that somebody put something ready for you. So you need to know the link. So maybe we can go for twitter.com and go for real Donald Trump, which is not correct, but let's have a look. And then you will find that some people made a copy of that. So let's have a look. And this one is from February the 8th. So you could be lucky that somebody else, it's often a newspaper, a reporter, or somebody else who's trying to make a copy, a screenshot of what this person said. So that's archive.is. Now, any other options? So there are 3 dots now, which means that the moderator opens the chat now. So we discussed Google Cache, we discussed archive.is, we discussed archive.org. Is there anything else we can do to find deleted tweets? So if you have an idea left, please put it in the chat. So maybe the chat is closed. So we already talked about Google Cache, and some people are complaining that there is no Serbian version of PolitWhoops. Well, just send me a message, we can take care of that. Okay, so we are running out of options here. Now let's have a look. So I'm going to go now to Mr. Trump. We just saw him, and he has a lot of ideas. And one of his older ideas, I almost forgot he said that. I'm going to show you right now.
2 years old, 2.5 years old, a child, a beautiful child, went to have the vaccine and came back, and a week later got a tremendous fever, got very, very sick, now is autistic.
Okay, now I know. So there's a vaccine and there's a child. And if you put the vaccine in the child, the kid will become autistic. Well, I almost forgot this whole chain of events. And if you study who's partly responsible for thinking like that, we have to talk about this guy. He's called Andrew Wakefield, and he was featured in a documentary, The Pathological Optimist. I think I said this right, I don't know. So Trump consulted Andrew Wakefield, who was featured in this documentary. That was all 3, 4, 5 years old. I don't know, but a few years old. Now that Trump says this, we know. That Andrew Wakefield says this, we know. But the director, Miranda Bailey, did all kinds of different stuff before she made this documentary. She did The Diary of a Teenage Girl, and she did other stuff. And apparently she never said something that she thinks that if you would probably vaccinate babies for hepatitis, that would be a bad idea or something. So you can check that easily. So did Miranda ever say she's against vaccination? Well, we could go to the advanced search screen of Twitter, which is, by the way, now even more precise than it was before. So you can even do more than you could do a few months ago. And here you see what I did. I always use a personal pronoun because I want to have that somebody says, well, I hate this vaccine or something like that. If it doesn't work, the word I'm going to leave it out. And then in the accounts, I say, well, Miranda Bailey, that's her account name. And I wanted to see if she ever said it before 2011 something. And I didn't find any conclusive stuff here. So my question to you is, did she delete tweets where she speaks out against vaccination? And you have, well, this is maybe a harder one. So 3 minutes for this one. So we have 3 minutes for this one. Never a dull moment. So her name is Miranda Bailey, and her Twitter account is Miranda Bailey, as shown here. And while you are working on this little exercise, people who are watching this video will probably think this is a waste of bandwidth. So it gives me time to thank some people from the Global Investigative Journalism Network who are doing an awful lot of work behind the screen. So I dropped in his channel a little bit too early, and I saw that there was a lot of activities of people explaining, the people who were translating stuff, the outlines, taking care of the right language feeds, and I was amazed about that. So Adam thinks that this session is great, at least so far. So maybe I should stop this little exercise because we are ready. We did this for 3 minutes, and let's find out. So just type in yes or no. Just type in yes or no. Did you find some deleted tweets of this person? Yes or no? So we have a lot of no's here. Well, the way of thinking was completely similar to the way of thinking we did in the very first session. So in the very first session, we were trying to find 4 crazy professors who said, they were from the US, that coronavirus is a bioweapon. We put a lot of time in thinking about the answer and then making some math formulas in Google in it. And then I shared with you one of my dearest formulas, which is always the same. Oh, I found something, let's exclude it. So let's have a look at the formula here. And it becomes very precise. So if you want to find, there you go, quoted tweets, maybe even the deleted ones outside Twitter about the vaccine, here's one way to deal with it. You just give up. You just say, okay, I didn't find it in Twitter, then get rid of Twitter. So type in -site:/twitter.com so you can exclude the whole source. And then you say, okay, I want to find Miranda Bailey. but not her name, but her Twitter handle. So that's why I used an @ sign and put both brackets between before and after her name. I don't know what I will get when I do that. But that's the whole point. I didn't know if she ever said something. So if you say, well, Henk, this is not leading us to any primary source, I completely agree with you. But look in which deep shit we are. We didn't find anything that she says, well, I'm against vaccines, vaccinating babies. And then you find out that she said something in 2015 that there are more celebrities are speaking out against vaccines. So you really do have to trust this source. So this is her actual tweets, and you do have to do some extra research, but at least you have an idea now that she's trying to get a clean sheet. And if you study this a little bit more, you will find that she almost deleted everything she ever tried to say about this. And she's really against, well, what it says here, that's probably her real point of view. Now, we're already at the very last example, which will take another whopping 5 or 7 minutes of your life. It depends on how long you will take for the next and final exercise of today. But let me first frame the whole thing. So Glenn Inwood posts here at the Island Bay in Wellington, New Zealand. Should you care? Well, if you love that Japanese whales are killed, then you should care, because this is a pro-whaling campaigner, and he got, I think, $1 million just to convince the rest of the world, what's wrong with killing whales. Now, this guy must have done an awfully good job, otherwise I can't explain that a big tobacco company hires the whaling guy. So he is controversial, because most people don't like to see killing of whales, or that people kill themselves with smoking. Now, if you would go to his Twitter account, it doesn't exist. Just let us do a small poll. If it says account doesn't exist, does it mean that there never was an account? Or does it mean that the account was deleted? Or can it mean both? So can you type in your opinion in the chat box? Yeah, and we have a very knowledgeable audience today. It can mean both. So it could be both. Not always. It's more likely that the account did exist, by the way. You get, for the more fresher accounts which are deleted, you will get this. For very old accounts, you will get it too. But for accounts which never exist, you also get an error message so now and then. So it's more likely that this one existed than not, but both is possible. So the account is not there, and it's also not there in the Wayback Machine, and also not there in archive.es, and not there in Google Cache, and not in the Library of the Library of Congress. Whatever you typed in the chat, it's not there. A question. Now let's make it. We have a whopping 3 minutes. Let's do it for 3 minutes here. Oh, I already decided to do it in 3 minutes. Find in 3 minutes. That's how we say minutes in Dutch. No, that's how I say minutes in English. So sorry for that. I'm gonna put an S extra. Find in 3 minutes what bank our guy has, what phone company he was, and what ferry boat did he take, and who is a good friend. Good luck. So some of the people who are in this room said, well, I'm finding this a bit tough to keep up, as I'm a bit of novice. Don't worry, the Global Investigative Journalism Network has his own video channel. And this video, including my mispronunciations, will be out there forever haunting me, that I never listened to my wife to take some pronunciation lessons. So yeah, you can slow it down to even half of the speed. So no worries there. Okay, the 3 minutes are up. Anyone? No, let's do it in this way. So we have 4 questions here. 1, 2, 3, 4 questions. Just type in how many answers did you find? 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Don't feel ashamed if it's 0. Just type in what you think. And there are many people who type in 0, 0, 0, 0. Even some very smart people typing in 0, 0, 0, 0. Well, how's that for our last few minutes of this workshop? We will have some minutes left for questions. It's not a very nice question because most of you are answering and still answering 0, 0, 0, 0. So it's a lot of zeros. Still, Kristen, hi Kristen, you just mailed me this via LinkedIn, said, well, I learned so much today during the GIJN webinar. And then I replied to, I think we're still working with you live, but I love that you give me some feedback because I'm sitting here in a room with a moderator, just talking into a black box, and I don't know, I can see your faces. I don't know if you are smiling or are bored. So it's great to have this feedback, Kristen. Thank you so much. Now here's the problem. We all agree that the account doesn't exist. Maybe you check that. So the account doesn't exist. This account doesn't exist. Oh my God, you saw that I just stole this photo from some stock footage stuff. Oh, I don't hope that this video will be deleted from the web now because some angry algorithm thinks, oh my God. Anyway, the accounts of people who talk to him still exist. And this is what we're gonna need. So it's a conversation going on some now and then in Twitter. So if you know the person who is deleted, then yeah, good luck with that. We didn't find anything. But yeah, you can find out the people who are talking to that person. And it's with a very simple trick. If you would type in any given Google, Twitter client, type in 2: and then the name of your target. In this particular case, Glenn Inwood, New Zealand. And then you get the last 2 postings. Fick dich, du grusige Sieg, was läuft mir dir falsch, du Wahlkiller, scham dich, which is also in German very unpolite to say. This person looks very nice and friendly, but by God, she has a foul mouth here. This is really... Anyway, if you look at the people who said something to our protagonist, it is, amongst others, the Interlander New Zealand ferries. One of the questions was, which ferry boat did he take? And Mr. Inwood is thanked here. Thank you for your good humor. So he complained about something. It's obviously isn't right. So we'll ask the bakery to ensure they add a few extras. So I dreamt about this last night. I thought, oh, what happened? What went wrong? What went wrong that they apologized like this? Well, we'll never know, but we still know now that the guy probably, we need this backed up by other sources, but that he probably was on this New Zealand ferry. Now here you see already 2 questions answers, which were also on the last question I had for you. Vodafone says, hi Glenn, we aren't aware of any issues like this. This is happening in all areas. Are you able to try your SIM card in another place, reboot your phone, or buy a new one? Whatever. Sam is doing his thing, and which reveals that the guy is probably having or had a Vodafone account at that moment in time. And the Bank of New Zealand says, hey, I'm sorry to hear about the experience the account holder has had. It is certainly not a service they should expect from, and this is talking about somebody else. And another thing which kept me out of my dream was, why is the New Zealand police saying, well, this tractor is not owned by the police? So they're saying to Glenn, no, this tractor is not owned by the police, but only used for promotional purposes. We don't know, but we do know that this guy is based in New Zealand. If you didn't know, now you know. At least at that moment in time he was. And we find a good friend, otherwise I can't explain this tweet. Done. Just picked it up for you. I'll be home in about November. How about a Leuven meeting then, which is near a town of some of you. Now, I'm done too. So this is basically the end of this presentation. We still have a whopping 8 minutes left for some questions. So let's hear it from Eunice.
Hi, thank you, Hank, for this wonderful workshop. I think I have about 4 questions here. Let's see if we have time to squeeze this in. The first one, how to find the email addresses behind a LinkedIn profile?
So that's more about the art of finding any given email address. So you can do it cheap, and that is, of course, by paying. So if you go to tools like people.com, they will all often reveal the names of email addresses. They give you the email addresses. In Spokeo, also a paid tool, it will also be possible to find stuff like that. But there are more sophisticated tricks. And by the way, this is a gigantic teaser. In the next workshop, in the very long workshop, we will discuss those methods, how to find an email address.
Okay, the second question, you shared about how to find deleted tweets, but is there a way to find deleted Facebook notes or Facebook posts?
Well, some of you wrote clearly knowledgeable things. Well, we will probably not be able to find the primary source, so the original posting, but we will be able to find if somebody quoted it with this trick by excluding Facebook and then including the link or words from that note.
Okay. The third question, is it possible to find who tweeted a certain image or a video on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram for the very first time?
Yes, there are tools for that. So one of the tools I use is followerwonk.com. And there are many tools of that. You just type in find out first tweet, and then in Google it will lead you to the latest one.
And the fourth question is, how are politicians identified on PolitWhoops? How comprehensive is it? I guess they're asking, because their country is not available on PolitWhoops right now. What can they do?
So you can write to headquarters of PolitWhoops, the big multinational. Now that's a joke, and ask. And then probably try to set up something with some coders. In itself, it's not the most hardest thing to do. The code is already ready. You just have to type in the name of the politicians from your country, and then the tool should be able to run. So contact PolitWhoops to get a local version.
Okay, maybe we can squeeze in this one more question. Is it possible to find Is it possible to find people that a Twitter user used to follow at a given date but no longer follows?
Yes, but the problem with that is that you already have to monitor those people to find who is following who and who is leaving who. So the answer is yes. And there are certain tools for that, commercial tools, which allow you to do just that. But the problem with this answer is that often as a journalist, you don't follow people in advance with social media monitoring tools. You just want to know it right now. So then you need to fall back on databases and queries that other users made. But if you drop me a note, just so the person who asked this question, just contact me and I will give you some of those commercial tools so you can have a look at it.
Okay, over to you, Anne.
Okay, gosh, that was just great. Thank you so much, Hank. We seem to have run out of time, but it was absolutely a fantastic webinar. Thank you so much. And I want to also thank my GIJN colleagues and all the translators working behind the scenes, and to the audience for joining us. And most of all, of course, to Hank for this fascinating webinar. And by the way, Hank, your English is absolutely fine. So we'll have you back again, please. Just Hank mentioned that we're doing 2 in-depth 5-hour workshops, in fact, next month. And I just wanted to tell everyone who's still with us that they're going to be on the 11th and 26th of January. The spots in these webinars, in these workshops rather, are very limited. But if you're interested, please apply. The deadline is tomorrow. That's Wednesday, the 16th of December at midnight EST. And also we plan a lot of other events in 2021. So please watch our Twitter feed and also GIJN.org for details on this. And so, because this is our final online event for 2020, on behalf of GIJN, I want to wish you all a very happy and healthy and safe new year, and a year we hope for lots of strong investigative journalism. So once again, thanks to everyone who attended the webinar, and to Henk in particular for doing such a great webinar. Goodbye, everyone.